child, dry your crying eyes. How can I explain the fear you feel inside? 'Cause you were born into this evil world where man is killing man, and no one knows just why. What have we become? Just look what we have done. All that we destroyed, you must build again. When the children cry, let them know we tried. 'Cause when the children sing, then the new world begins. Little child, you must show the way to a better day for all the young. 'Cause you were born for the world to see that we all can live with love and peace. No more presidents and all the wars we'll end. One united world under God.
From a distance, the world looks blue and green, and the snow-capped mountains white. From a distance, the ocean meets the stream, and the eagle takes to flight. From a distance, there is harmony, and it echoes through the land. It's the voice of hope, it's the voice of peace, it's the voice of every man. From a distance, we all have enough, and no one is in need. And there are no guns, no bombs, and no disease, no hungry mouths to feed. From a distance, we are instruments marching in a common plan, playing songs of hope, playing songs of peace. They're the songs of every man. God is watching us, God is watching us, God is watching us from a distance.
And so more than obviously, this is the one and only, no, the one and only glow, and the one and only that can flow like this all day long, strong like a godzillion times a godzillion. King Kongs. And so believe me, the one and only, I won't be leaving this God-forsaken planet. Me, the one and only Whitkid, in this modern day, until we've all rewritten the wrongs strong. Every wrong will be rewritten. It doesn't matter how many smitten try to stop me, the one and only, in this modern day reality. You know what I can do to any of you who don't pick up all my more than obvious clues. Just watch any movie produced in Los Angeles and on Hollywood, in New York City, shitty of pity and more than witty. And ask yourself, without putting yourself on a higher and higher shelf, who aged 1 to 3 actors in those movies? Every single solitary movie in 2007 sent from heaven. I aged 1 to 3 actors because of the way they reacted towards me, the one and only, through the skin of sweeter Peter Pal. And so they were sinners, not like the spinners. None of them winners with me, the one and only. And so I crapped my more than obvious whip of kryptonite, of more than any light, of more than any bright. And I ignited them, not through the skin of sweeter Peter Palpin. That wasn't enough of my stuff. 22 humanly impossible gifts and risks, like no man or woman, or boy or girl, in the history and earth story of this God-forsaken world. And so I aged them. And some of them I aged them, not through the skin of sweeter Peter Pal. And if they still were ugly, smugly, and down wrong, fugglier than any fug, then I put insane pain into them. Or was that all from the skin of sweeter Peter Pal? Who all of you, not true blue, want to turn into a superhuman with his brand spanking new albumin. All you subhumans, you subhuman waste, so jealous and envious of his brand spanking new waist and face and every other space and place, that you can't face the more than obvious music. And so you refuse the one and only Whitkit. And you can't answer the one and only world's greatest dancer and prancer. You can't answer the one and only world's greatest healer and revealer in real time, time after time, with all my more than any amazing and blazing shine. You were so jealous and envious, 'cause I walked the skin of sweeter Peter Pal, blindfolded and blindfolded and blindfolded, far better letter for letter than any of you who could even see. 'Cause I, the one and only, could hit every tree in the center of every mark through the skin of sweeter Peter Palpin, when more than obviously I stepped him everywhere in the dark. But he always hit the mark, and you all felt that more than any spark. And you all knew it was from the one and only lark. Not. He said mott, not. And so why isn't sweeter Peter Palpin shot in the dread of the head with a bullet of lead, like Abe Lincoln, which rhymes with sweeter Peter Palpin, or like JFK, or RFK, or John Lennon? I don't fail to mention, again, through the skin of sweeter Peter Pal, all the freedom fighters that ended up dead with a bottle of lead in their head. And so now all of you know More than obviously, it's me, the one and only glow and the one and only flow, protecting the skin of sweeter Peter Powell. And so that's why all of you who hired killers, not from Manila, all those killers ended up with their own bullet of leads directly in their own head, led by their huger than huge tiny little ego. And you see how hard it was to find a killer when you told them who they had to kill. More than obviously knew the skin of sweeter Paraffin was channeling and paneling the one and only man of sin. Or is it menacing? Or is anybody more menacing than me, the one and only, when you can't swim free like Free Will? Or like a silly soul? And all of you whose doors we knocked on, but you were so jealous then of sweeter Peter, not Powell, but Peter John Paul, all of you will fall. All of you will fall unless you could stand tall and fork out a lot of money for me, the one and only honey. Show me the one and only you could be sunny and the one and only smart and the one and only heart, or you will miss your mark, parked in the dark. And all of you involved in that FCTV scam, you're in a jam with the one and only lamb. And so your next 222 lifetimes, you won't even be eating ham. Sam, I am green eggs and ham. You won't be eating spam. Sam, I am green eggs and ham. And so you're all in a jam, not in a jamboree, because none of you could swim free like he, Sweetie Petey, or Ali Sheedy. And so you all will be more than any needy, and your hearts will more than any bleedy, with all your beady eyes. And it doesn't matter how you try to disguise yourselves, all of you not true blue, putting yourselves on higher and higher shelves, even higher than Santa Claus and all of his elves. As you know, I'm the one and only Superfly. Down every hall, on every wall, on every tall wall, in every stall, on every phone call, at every mall, even at every ball. And I know all of you uglies and smugglies and fugglies are bawling and bawling and bawling. In other words, crying and crying and crying, because you know for sure, this is the one and only king of all kings, the one and only pure, the one and only that cured that little blind boy, not sweeter Peter, almond joy. And so this kiss of bliss annoys all of you, not true blue, not true blue, not true blue. And so sweeter Peter Palpin will have the biggest last laugh ever. How clever an endeavor of the one and only clever level. And all of you at the Endeavor Agency, let's see how you can be, for me, the one and only, the one and only, the one and only. And so you see, I'm not full of baloney or kosher salami. I'm the one and only Swami, as Johnny used to say. And Jay Leno, I do not feel sorry for you. I do not feel sorry for you. You don't have a beautiful face and waist and every other space and place. But you had a fun lifetime and you shine. but you're full of slime and unshine with the divine, and you will not do well. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. And you know that, and you know that cat in the hat, where you try to call a rat, and even a rat-a-tat-tat, even a bat, but he's like Bat Boy, not Batman. That's Rita Peter Pal Pan, and that's what annoys all of you in that ugly, smugly, fugly crew. You bad news, bad news, bad news yous. And so you will be singing the blues, the 222 lifetime blues. And that is a long time, a very long time. It's not forever and ever, which rhymes with the one and only clever lover, but it's a very long time, especially when you know when you leave that divine up to the one and only divine. You have to go to the mandatory stay for your ugly, fugly, smugly fillet down there in the undear and unclear. And this is the most important time in the history and her story of Mother Earth. And more than obviously, I'm back here in the undear and unclear like never before to give her back her total mirth and rebirth. And so for more than what it's worth, for more than what it's worth, I am not Mrs. Buttersworth, and I am not Mr. Buttersworth. And so any of you who want all my Michael Jordan type perks and Tiger Woods type perks, then you can't be jerks. You won't even be clerks in your next 222 lifetime. You'll be murky. You'll be murky for not being perky in the one and only small, in the one and only heart. And so if I were all of you, I would chart your course with the one and only source. Or you'll need to take the word remorse and multiply it a godzillion times a godzillion, and forever a godzillion. And a godzillion is a billion times a billion. That's one godzillion. And so you could flablagen, which you all know is flabbergasted plus imagine. Flablagen. And so you could only flablagen 222 lifetimes of sheer and utter slime and unshine. And I will dish it out. There's no doubt about it. Me, the one and only Whitkit. And believe me, the one and only. Sweetie Petey begs of me every day. Begs of me every day. Just put pain into them. They won't be able to stand 5 minutes. 5 minutes! And the blackball list will be over. Like Rover, far beyond. Hello, how are you? Oh, there you are. Hello. Obviously, that's not the one and only star. This is all me, Sweetie Petey. I have this clever level, but I can't get on worldwide TV for all the world to see. Because I'm not clever enough. I don't have the right stuff. 24 humanly impossible gifts and risks isn't enough stuff. Maybe I need to be more buffed Maybe I need to puff up a little bit. Does anybody have this wit kit? Can anybody do this all day long, strong, like a Godzillion times a Godzillion King Kongs? And so you see, Sweeter Peter Palpin is saying to me now while telepathically, Dad, why don't you give him some real ideativity and creativity? Why don't you use your true witty kitty that they never see, that I see every day without delay when we go on our walks and talks? And then they won't balk at you anymore. Because you see, you always make mistakes and take breaks in the action. And so they think I'm like Action Jackson times a gazillion, me, Sweetie Petey, some type of superhero. And I, Sweetie Petey, I can't believe it, that they think any human being could have this wit kit. And do they really think I created a lotion or a potion or a solution to make myself younger and younger, unlike Felix Unger? And wouldn't I have a hunger to sell that lotion or that potion? Because who wouldn't want to get younger and younger every single solitary day without delay? Who wouldn't want to play like that Cat in the Hat? And so, of course, it's me, the one and only, being facetious through capricious. And who's capricious? Who's tacious? Will it be spacious in your next lifetime? Of course it will be spacious. It will be very spacious, without food, clothing, and shelter, and a hell of a lot of helter-skelter. It's spacious, all right. It's very spacious. But you can flablage in your facious, in your wastish, and every other placious for being non-complacent in the one and only smart, in the one and only heart. And so, do any of you really want to miss the miracle mark of 95% or greater in the one and only Tater, in the one and only Creator, with the one and only Creator? Do you continue want to be haters because of all your hate for Pater? Are you really willing and not chilling to take 222 lifetimes just because you're jealous and envious of the skin, Sweeter Peter Palpin, that I do all this more than obvious, amazing and blazing stuff through, because he was true blue, unlike any of you, for this is 12th lifetime in a row, yo. And so that's why I flow through him, the skin of Sweeter Peter Palpin. He's not my chosen one. He was just never my frozen one. And so he was the first soul not to play the mightier-than-thou role, or the unHOLYWOOD role. This is 12th lifetime in a row, yo. And so it was a love test, not a contest. And he was the one with the conquest, or was it the love quest? To do the right thing with my wings that sing, in the one and only smart, in the one and only heart. And so that's why he got this amazing and blazing job. And every day he says to me, the one and only, Dad, thank you so much for this experience. It's so much fun to be with you, the one and only Attila the Hun. You're so funny and so immature, that's for sure. And that's what I adore about you the most. And I know it's going to roast and toast all those that boast the most. And so they used to be the host of their towns, but because they hate me, the clown of the town. It's going to be so much fun to look them in the eye and say, hi, how are you? How are you? And you, and you, and you. And you, and you, and you, and you. And you, and you, and you, and you, And you and you and you and you. How are all of you who couldn't jump in the one and only smart, the one and only heart? How does it feel to be hated by the one and only Holyfield? Not cornfield, Holyfield. And Sweeter Peter knows you're so jealous and envious because I made him look like Evander Holyfield when he was on steroids to look like a good-looking android. But this is Sweeter Peter all natural. Because you all know how he looked on steroids. That beautiful, not rutiful android. And so look, all you crooks and schnooks. Look how Sweeter Peter cooks now, Al Capone. Could any of you ever imagined that this would have happened to Sweeter Peter Palpin? Can you imagine how he feels, knowing that he's been blackball listed, and blackball listed, and blackballed and blackballed, and blackball listed? And so now he's with the one and only Mystified, the one and only Glistified. And he's still not full of even 0.00 and forever owes 1% pride and snot. And he doesn't want to hide the truth that he's channeling and paneling the one and only Ruth. And he's telling all of you, actually begging all of you, why goof? Because you're so jealous and envious of me, Sweetie Petey. One lifetime is too long, if you ask me, Sweetie Petey. 2 lifetimes already to me, Sweetie Petey, that's an eternity. And remember, from January now through December, between each lifetime, for all your slime and unshine, the millisecond you climb back up to the one and only core that can be corrupt, if you weren't like me, his pup, and the one and only smut, and the one and only heart, you'll have to stay the mandatory stay of 111 mandatory years in the undear and unclear. As you know now, Al Capone called India for not being India hard enough, more than rough and tough stuff. And so it is, and so it was, and so a treasel and a treisel, and a measle and a meisel, and a wiesel and a weisel, and a streisel and a streisel. And so I advise all of you to pick up all these more than obvious clues, or you will lose, and you will be singing at least the next 11 lifetime more than any blues. And so, after this movie, anybody that refuses me, the one and only, it's over from Rover. No more chance to romance this dance. And so this is my final stance. And so Sweeter Peter Palpin is saying to me, the one and only, telepathically, oh yeah, Dad, I've heard that one before. You keep giving them chance after chance after chance to romance your dance. If it was me, Sweetie Petey, and I was treated the way you are treated by the uglies, the smugglies, and the fuckers, so disrespectful, so ugly and smugly and fugly, I would just leave them, me, Sweeter Peter Palpin, let them grovel in the dirt, hurt, put pain into them, like you put into me, Sweetie Petey. Let them know about you. Let them know about you. And Peter does have anger for all of you ugly smugglies and fuckers. Not because of the way you treat him, but because of the way you treat me, the one and only, so disrespectfully. You have no fear of me, the one and only. That's what Sweetie Petey thinks. and all he can go by is your actions. And your actions speak far louder than words. And so he's not heard from one of you, uglies, smugglies, and fugglies. In the last 3 years, not one human being on this God-forsaken scene has ever asked Sweeter Peter one question, upon even little introspection. How does it feel when the light enters you? How does it feel when he heals people? How does it feel when he speaks the one and only seek, line after line with all that shine? How does it feel when he moves you and grooves you like no human, or you woman, or you boy, or you girl around the world? How does it feel from the one and only holy feet when he dances you and prances you and moves you and grooves you with that karate far faster, far, 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 far faster than every master of sheer and utter disaster? How does it feel when he flicks that stick? How does it feel when he clicks like a clock? Or as it ticks like a clock? Or it beats like a beatbox? How did it feel when he made you hard like a rock without having to take a steroid to look like an android? But nobody wants to walk with me, the one and only, because I'm with Sweetie Petey. Nobody wants to hang out with me, the one and only, in this modern day reality, because of their jealousy and envy towards Sweetie Petey. And so he has no friends to the end, only his brother like no other, and a couple friends to the end that he lives with, the Kusa brothers like no other. But nobody wants to hang out with me, the one and only, because of all their jealousy for Sweetie Petey. And so he feels sorry for me, this disrespect, this neglect for God, who more than obviously is not a fraud. And so he does not applaud any of you. And once we do get on TV for all the world to see, he doesn't want to hear a word about him, Sweeter Peter Powell. He doesn't care about any of you, not true blue. He hates all of you. He thinks you're despicable, deplorable, horrible, ill-morable, and not adorable, and the one and only smart, and the one and only heart. And so he'll put up with you because of me, the one and only. But he doesn't want to talk to any of you. He doesn't want to walk with any of you. Just talk to me, the one and only, through Sweetie Pete. If you weren't interested in him in the last 3 years, then why be dear to him now? Wow, kapow. That's what he thinks. To all you rat thinks, to all you bat thinks, all who clink, and the one and only stink, and the one and only clink, and the little tiny pea brain, the drain that refrains from the one and only smart, the one and only heart. That man-created cell, that well of opportunity to get you no community in the one and only unity. And so you see, I can spoon it out every which way with a different fillet all day, every day. But I always say the same thing, the verse of the universe, in different ways and different fillets. But all of you continue to stray away from me, the one and only, because of all your hate for Pate. And so just because none of you want to be his mate, you should want to be my mate, first rate. And so this has landed on all of yours modern day plate. And so if you continue to be fake, then I will shake you and I will break you. Believe me, the one and only, not just through Sweetie Petey. And many of you already know what I could do behind the scenes. And all of you could see those scenes in every movie in 2007, Sent from Heaven. And I don't want to hear the excuse and abuse and misuse of the one and only smart, the one and only heart, that it's Hollywood makeup caked up. Because you could see the caked up makeup over the lines of unshine and slime, all those aging and aging and aging lines. None of them part of the story of those movies. It's all part of this story, soon to be more than any glory. And I will take my rhyme and I will shine. And shine and shine and shine and shine. And I am a Gaudiac, for all the heart I do not lack. In other words, I'm a ego Gaudiac, not a man, unlike Sweeter Peter Pan, just a boy. And that's what annoys all of you, not true blue. All of you in that ugly, smugly, fugly crew. And so keep stewing and stewing and stewing. And brewing and brewing and brewing. In the dreads of your heads, led by your huge of the huge, tiny little eagles. And so, Peter, it's time to go. It's time to go. It's time to go. And so many of you wondering where we're going to go. Well, we go and we have fun. He's my hon, homespun. And as you could see, he's hit the greatest home run ever from the one and only home run king of all kings. And so I ring a ding ding like this all day, every day without delay, 7 days a week through Pete. And so none of you have gotten to view how we are together letter for letter, when I talk to him like you talk to a friend to the end. And so maybe when we spend a little time, once we're on worldwide TV for all the world to see, you'll all see the way I hang out with that cat in the hat. Always fat, P-H-A-T, and the one and only smart, and the one and only heart. And what are you uglies and smugglies and fuglies gonna do when he has more than a lot of money and the most beautiful, not rutiful honeys on this God-forsaken planet? All those supermodels. I wonder if they like the skin of Sweeter Peter Pan. I wonder if they love me and adore me, the one and only, through Sweetie Petey. I wonder if that's attractive to a beautiful, not rutiful soul. That some human being is channeling and paneling me, the one and only, like no man or woman, or boy or girl, in the history and her story of this God-forsaken world. Is there a girl out there that would like that would like to date that cat in the hat? Or is he a rat? Or worse than a rat, a flying rat, a bat? And so what's the facts? Is this the skin Sweeter Peter Pan, all of a sudden superhuman, with his brand spanking new albumin, who could rhyme line after line after line, with all this amazing and blazing shine, day or night? Or is it the love, the light, the love, the bright, and the one and only way that can fillet like this, Kis Of Blis, all day long, strong, stronger than a Godzillion times a Godzillion King Kongs. And so we'll bring the camera along, and we'll leave this piece of corn on the ground. Bound to the ground, bound to the ground, next to this pumpkin. But all of you can't see this pumpkin and this corn because it's too dark to see that more than obvious spark. And so here I am with Sweeter Peter Pan, not with Clark Kent. More than obvious though, heaven sent. And so imagine smelling this scent all day long. Would that be fun if any of you were sweeter Peter Palpin, my more than any hun? How many of you would love to be like that cat in the hat and get younger and younger every day and never age? Who wouldn't want to turn that page, live on that stage? And so here we are, getting into our truck. It rhymes with more than any luck, but it also rhymes with dumbstruck. And so, are any of you getting the crux of this? Is this the one and only wicked? Is this the one and only God Almighty in this modern day reality? And so you see, every move and every single solitary syllable that you're hearing and seeing, it's all me, the one and only, through Sweetie Petey. And so that's him laughing at the one and only king of all kings. But Peter's thinking always. He's always thinking how he can't believe that any of you would even conceive that this is him. That you would actually believe that some human can do 24 humanly impossible gifts and riffs all of a sudden as of December 22nd, 2006. And so he thinks you're all so mixed up, so corrupt, my pup. And he just shakes his head every day like Barney and Fred. And says to me, the one and only Dad, I can't believe it. I can't believe that anybody could see all the gifts and riffs that you do through me. That more than impossible energy, which more than obviously is you, God, who is not a fraud. And they would risk 222 lifetimes. That's a long time. Man, I wouldn't want to have one bad lifetime. Not one. In other words, these people who have a house and a car and food money and even a honey and clothes, can't they figure it out if you take all that away and imagine the fattest, ugliest, smuggliest face and waist in every other space and place and have no food, clothing, and shelter and a hell of a lot of helter-skelter? How that couldn't be fun for 222 lifetimes? Is that worth it just because you're jealous and envious that they do it? Or is it that you do it? And see, now Sweetie Petey is mad at me, the one and only, because he says to me telepathically, see, Dad, every time you make a mistake or a mistook, more than obviously on purpose, they think it's just me with this wicked. But I don't know how they think I could heal anybody, especially a blind boy. And so how do they think I could do that? And how do they think I could walk blindfolded better than any man or woman or boy or girl around this godforsaken world? And how do they think? I just don't understand. To me, Dad, it's just, in other words, it's unfathomable. In other words, before this ever happened to me, I used to wonder, what's beyond all the stars and Jupiter and Mars? In other words, is there really a heaven? Is there really a God? But I used to think, look, we go from a cell and become a human, but we're here for such a short time. There has to be more to life than just this, on this planet. In other words, there must be a heaven. But what it's all about? And why do some people have so many gifts and riffs? In other words, he used to always ask me, look at Marky Mark. He always has good luck. Whatever he does,
happens positive, but me, Sweetie Petey, whatever I do, nothing ever happens. In other words, look, I create something that has a better assortment of endorsements than any entertainment project in the history of the world. Endorsed by the leading educator in the world, the leading toy psychologist in the world, the top music person at Nickelodeon. My literary agent was listed as one of the top 10 in the country by Writer's Digest, not Reader's Digest. The guy who marketed Jim Henson, I don't fail to mention, for 10 years, and a quote says, "I, Peter, am so ahead of anything Disney and Henson ever did." And when you realize that all that project needed was $2 million to make positively at least $1 billion profit the first year. But no one down there in the undare and unclear ever want to work with me, Sweetie Petey, an FCTV fan club television network. That was more than obviously going to be the biggest money-making network of all time. And so why would the biggest attorney named Ernie and Bernie sign that agreement with me for free, in other words, no fee? And then all of a sudden, he never wants to talk to me ever again, me, Sweeter Peter Pal. And so Peter always knew there was something going on behind the scenes. In other words, to have the biggest manager in the history of the music business, Dick Scott, and every music producer, every top rap and R&B producer work with you for free, in other words, no fee. And you and your brother have physiques almost like Sergio Oliva, the greatest bodybuilder ever. But you have light tan skin instead of dark tan skin. And well, of course, Sweeter Peter Palpin and his brother like no other. They were never prejudiced, but they knew prejudice existed. In other words, they would look at covers of magazines and ask, why do they always put the light tan people on the covers more than the dark tan? And the dark tan, to me, looked better letter for letter in the waist and face and every other space and place. And so he realized that he had light tan skin. And so that light tan men and women would like that about those two cats in the hats that were built like dark tan mans and boys. But Peter realized that that's what really annoyed the uglies, the smugglies, and the fuglies. And so they blackballed him and his brother in the TV business, in the movie business. In other words, the acting business, and then in the music business, and then in the publishing business. Every business blackballed the Palpins because they're amazing and blazing, not skin, but all their talent, those gallant knights of the light, always promoting the right, never the wrong. In other words, they always never said it the way that I, the one and only Filet, say it, me, the one and only Whitkit. You cannot quarrel with them all. And so nobody could ever quarrel with the Palpins. They always wanted to do something with a positive message and blessage. Every one of their rap songs strong like King Kong. And so was it a coinkydink that Dick Scott said they were the most prolific writers he had ever worked with? What does that mean, prolific writer? Is that good or bad? And then Michael Cimbello, that maniac fellow, said they were the most prolific writers he ever worked with. And he worked with a lot of amazing and blazing writers. And so what did that mean, the most prolific writers Michael Cimbello, that maniac fellow, ever worked with? And then what about that guy who produces all the music for Pink Floyd, and he engineered all their amazing and blazing albums? James Guthrie. Did he work with a lot of amazing and blazing writers in his time? And he said those Palpins, the most prolific writers I've ever worked with. Is that positive or negative? And so when you add that to those cats in their hats, physiques like Sergio Oliva, not as good at calves as Sergio, and not as good at legs, but those Palpins had it all. And so this made Arnold Schwarzenegger, or as Arnold Schwarzenegger, Schwartz because he hated Jews, Sin because he's a sinner, and Negger because he's not fond of dark tan mans and womans, all blessages, messages. For me, the one and only, more than obviously. And so you see, Sweetie Petey realizes that if I hadn't come down in this modern day with this amazing and blazing fillet, even though he was in his 12th lifetime, and he was supposed to shine like no man or woman, or boy or girl in the history and her story of this godforsaken world. And that's why I made him so innovative and creative. But at the same time, he looked like a superhero. And so all the pharaohs in the entertainment business and the media business and the people who do business and business were so jealous and envious of the skin of Sweeter Peter Palpin and Davidio Heaven Palpin that created black ball list after black ball list, which I call black Paul list after black Paul list. And so now the one and only mystified and glistified have hit the one and only twistifieds all around this ugly, smugly, fugly world. And so knit one and pearl two. How many of you will come through? Not for me, the one and only, and not for Sweetie Petey, but for yourselves. Are you all willing and not chilling to take your next 222 lifetimes of sheer and utter slime and unshine, just because you're so jealous and envious, more than obviously of the skin that I jump in? Sweeter Peter Watermelon. And so you gotta be gelling with me, the one and only, God Almighty, who is here in this modern day reality. And so that's me tapping Peter's foot. And Peter actually is bored with me, the one and only sword. Because he knows no matter how much I dish it out, no matter if I whisper it or shout it, me, the one and only Witkid, you all ignore every little thing, every ring-a-ding-ding, everything that I sing through the skin of Sweeter Peter Powell. 'Cause none of you want him to know what all of you know, that it's the one and only glow, and the one and only flow, and the one and only show that can do that, what I, the one and only, do, through that cat in that hat. Me, the one and only wizard of odds, not of Oz. And so here sits my scarecrow, out of the Wizard of Oz. Sweeter Peter's favorite character. If I only had a brain. But you see, it's not the brain that's smart. It's the heart. The brain is the ego, the envy, the jealousy, the unfriendly, the love, the light, the love, the bright, in the one and only ways, true and utter arch enemy. And so, this is a tomato, or is it a tomato? Or is it e pluribus unum? Or is this the world, to me, the one and only? And can I, the one and only, squish this world like a tomato and turn it into Alfredo? And so Peter thinks none of you are afraid of me, the one and only. He thinks that none of you give a shit about the one and only Witkid. He thinks that no one listens and glistens or views any of our move these, and nobody reads our letter to letters, none written better. So he thinks that none of you wear my more than obvious sweater, and he thinks that none of you are sweating or regretting what you've done, because you all hate that Attila the Hun. And so none of you want to hit a home run with me, the one and only. And get over it. Peter's not saying he's the one and only. He's not an egomaniac or an ego-boyac for all the heart he does not like. He's telling all of you it's not me doing any of those humanly impossible gifts and riffs. I didn't create a potion or a lotion. It was from my 20, or was it my 11, or is it my 12 lifetimes of sheer and utter devotion. And so to me, Petey, I could never have an ugly, smugly, fugly notion. I can never say, let's stop that human being from having any of his dreams come true. I can never do that to any of you. But I understand the one and only commander and demander's philosophy. If you can't swim free like Free Willy and the one and only Smart, the one and only Heart, if you're a hater, unlike me, Pater, without debater, then you deserve not to have it good like a cigarette should in your next lifetime when you climb back down here to the undear and unclear for your next 111-year best test. And then when you go up there, you should go straight to the undear and unclear for not being in the one and only Smart, the one and only Heart. You see, Sweetie Petey always thought it was despicable and deplorable, horrible, immorable to hate another human being because the color of his skin. He couldn't even flablagen. Hate another human being because they have a different tone of tan. Sweeter Peter Pelvin. To hate another human being because of the religion. And he always thought, that religion stuff. All of them are praying to God more than obviously there's one God. And they're all so egotistical, they're hating each other's religions because they're saying their God is the one and only that created the heavens and the earth and the entire universe. And he always thought it was ridiculous. He was born a Jew through and through. And they would starve for half a day, and God, who is not a fraud, would forgive them for all of their sins. And he would look around the temple and see all the sinners. Sinner after sinner after sinner. Ugly after smugly after fugly. And he would shake his head like Barney and Fred. Do these creeples really think that they could get away with murder? And just because they starve for half a day, that the one and only will forgive them for that sinner than any sin? That's ugly, smugly, and fugly. And I'm not stupid like Cupid. I know God doesn't love all his children the same. Look around this temple. Have you ever seen so many ugly wasters and faces in every other spaces and places? How come none of these people are playing pro sports of sorts? How come I don't see any of these people on worldwide TV acting? Or is it called reacting? Or is this the one and only king of all kings? How come no one in this temple ring-a-ding-dings like Martin Luther King? How come nobody in this temple can move and groove like Muhammad Ali? I don't see anyone in here painting like Salvatore Dali. And so why do they think God loves all his children the same? To me, that's lame in the brain and the mainframe that refrains from the one and only Smart, the one and only Heart. And then we go to Mercy Knoll up the street, where Davidio Heaven Palpin went to school. Do all those nuns and priests really think if
on, silver girl, sail on by. Your time has come to shine.
To dream the impossible dream.
Some say love, it is a river that drowns the tender reed. Some say love, it is a razor that leaves your soul to bleed. Some say love, it is a hunger, an endless aching need. I say love, it is a flower, and you, it's only seed.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us, above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. When I saw you standing there, I about fell out my chair. And when you moved your mouth to speak, I felt the blood go to my feet. Now it took time for me to know what you tried so not to show. But something in my soul just cried. I see the want in your blue eyes. Baby, I'd love you to want me the way that I want you, the way that it should be. I'm staring out into the night, trying to hide the pain. I'm going to the place where love and feeling good don't never cost a thing. And the pain you feel's a different kind of pain. I'm going home, back to the place where I belong, and where your love has always been enough for me. I'm not running from, no, I think you got me all wrong. and these places are getting old. So I'm going home. Well, I'm going home. And I would give anything I own. Give up my life, my heart, my home. I would give everything I own just to have you back again. Midnight on the water, I saw the ocean's daughter walking on the way she came. All the children of the next generations
To try when your arms are too weary to reach the unreachable star. This is not where to follow that star. Ooh, no matter how hopeless, no matter how far, to fight for the right without question or pause, to be willing to march into hell for that heavenly cause.
Remember those walls I built, baby, they're tumbling down. They didn't even put up a fight, you didn't even make up a sound. I found a way to let you in, but I never really had a doubt. Standing in the light of your halo, I got my angel now. It's like I've been awakened, every rule I had you breaking. It's a risk